we're back for another edition of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast. My name is Jonathon. Now he is Travis Cunningham. This is episode 81, presented by Vansickle Pet Value and Lundy's Lane Pet Value. Appreciate them coming back on board this season. And of course, once the season gets going down at Merrittville Speedway, you're going to be able to grab your grandstand tickets and beat the lineups, beat the crowd at the gates by grabbing those tickets, not needing to stop off at the box office on your way in. So we appreciate Vansickle Pet Value and Lundy's Lane Pet Value doing that for the race fans, and then we appreciate them being a part of the show. And you know what? I get the best dog treats there too, so Finn's always happy when I take him in. It's episode 81, Travis. Who you got for driver 81?
Oh, one of the nicest guys in motorsports. And I'm proud to call him my friend, Derek Jonathon. 3-time feature winner at Brighton Speedway, 360s, and I think he's got one at Humberstone, Lewiston, New York.
Matches you.
Yeah. He's got one extra one at Humberstone.
True.
Back when Humberstone used to go 360s every second week back in the day.
Oof,
there was a period of 2 years of that. Yep. You could do Friday and then every second Sunday. Those are the days.
The only problem with that, I feel like, is the Mondays. The Mondays must have been brutal for sprint car teams.
Yeah, but most of us were local back then.
True. I'm going to go with Crystal Souls and the 81. I believe it's 81D lettered mini stock, if I'm thinking of it correctly. At Oshweekend, made, I believe, 4 starts in 2023 in the mini stocks. And we got to mention Carl Salt.
Yeah.
Also drove 81.
I gave you that one, and I kind of made the cool, like he was kind of like Ryan Beagle before Ryan Beagle. He had lots of street stock wins back in the day. He doesn't race there anymore, I don't think. But he had mini stock. He was a mini stock guy too. But he was fast.
Nice. Classic stock car racing, those mini stocks and those street stocks. Let's jump right into, speaking of stock cars, the modifieds were back. The big blocks. Super Dirtcar Series season kicked off at New Egypt Speedway in New Egypt, New Jersey, which I made fun of on my radio show this past week because I thought it was funny that of all the places to put a New Egypt, I did not think New Jersey would be the right spot for that. You'd think maybe something a little bit more desert-like, but either way, whatever. It was the Power in the Pines, and Anthony Perego. I don't want to say surprise win, but it kind of feels weird to say a big block modified race wasn't won by Matt Shepard.
Yeah, definitely not a surprise for Perego. That's like his home area, kind of. He's been that race there, and it was kind of more his conditions. The track definitely wasn't super black slick like Shepard likes it. Like he only went 4th to 4th, I think. Our boy Matty, he didn't make the redraw, but then he wheeled her up, I think, to 7th or so, maybe 6th, something like that. And then, it was just tough to pass. And honestly, if it wasn't for Daniel Johnson, it was just like a 1 lane around the bottom kind of thing at the end. It was pretty dusty. Mm-hmm. Like on Dirt Vision, you couldn't even see on the front stretch. Like it was like watching Ohio Speed Week, but that's pretty dusty too. And couldn't see down the front straightaway on Dirt Vision. And then they had another camera down the back straightaway where you could catch a lot more. But yeah, Daniel Johnson just was in the lane and it was allowed Perego to get by race long leader Jeremy Smith. I don't know about race long, but yeah, Jeremy Smith almost won his first Super Dirtcar Series race. And last year, the first race at Bridgeport, Darren Smith. Jeremy Smith is the owner of that team. That's what it says on the chassis when I weld them at BRP. JSR.
well,
I forgot Darren, but he almost got his first win. And then Perego took it away from him. It hurt me watching him. Like, that hurt for me. Like, I could feel it. Ugh, been there.
Yeah, that was a bummer. Got to be bummed for TVD, too, right? I mean,
right, that was another one.
And
he broke.
Led 32 laps, right? And broke, like you say. So that's a real shame for him. But Anthony Perego gets the win over Darren Smith. Peter Britton with a top 3 performance. And Matt Shepard was 4th. Ryan go down 5th. That's your top 5 there.
Go down, I think. You
mentioned Matt Williamson.
Came from deep.
Yeah, he came from 14th, actually. So passing was at a premium, but...
a couple guys got it done.
And, yeah, there was a few guys. Like, I'm probably going to butcher
But go down, like, he's raced there so much. That's his home track. I think it's... Yeah, it is his home track again. He had drama last year at Bridgeport, so he was racing...
Is this is it Loudon Reimert? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, he finished like in the top 5 at Port Royal, and now he's wheeling her.
Yeah, went from 18th to 8th actually, so gain of 10.
Keep an eye on that boy
in the top 10. Yeah, that was really cool to see. So shout out to him. Shout out to everybody who made it out for the season opener. That was really cool to see the Super Dirtcar Series back in action for a proper points-paying event.
How'd the Canadians
Obviously,
do? Felix Waugh. We already
uh,
said Williamson.
Felix Waugh went. He was plus 10. It's just he had no track position to start. He started 27th, went up to 17th.
Those two Stacys. I don't know if they're Canadian or American. I can't remember with them. Dexter, Stacey, and Wallace. I think they're New York.
They are both Canadian.
Ha!
And I don't think
they didn't make the show.
Either of them made the show.
Daniel Johnson was driving one of their cars. Like he took over for the feature. But
yeah, Dexter went from 13th to 9th in the Last Chance Showdown.
I think so.
I think so. I don't think we had many other ones. And Wallace, I don't know if Wallace broke. Wallace ended up not starting his Wallace Stacey ended up not starting heat number 2.
Those guys ran the Pinty Series.
They finished 9th. Yep. Good pals with
the Xfinity as well, if you can believe it.
Yeah, I'm good pals with one of the engine guys. Yes, I do.
Oh yeah, you did say that.
Yeah. So shout out to Riley, and I appreciate. He always gives me good updates on the NASCAR Canada Series, and gives me a little extra access to their crew area, which is cool to get in there and nose around a little bit and see how it's done. But so that wasn't the only big racing series that we missed during our Easter break. We have to run down some World of Outlaws event. Yeah, we got to jump into Carson Macedo.
There was 2 since our last race.
Yeah, so first one, March 23rd at Kendall Speedway Park in Kendall, Texas. Carson Macedo gets the win over David Gravel and Aaron Rutzel. And, just as I was giving David Gravel heck for not taking over the points lead and running away with it, he puts together some really quality results in back-to-back second places, because he was also second to Rico Abreu in Wichita, Kansas at the 81 Speedway. That race held March 30th. And a couple races were weathered out. I think Friday they called it a wind out, right?
Yeah, it was sunny. I got a lot of opinions on that one. But so the first race at Kennedale was like hammered down fast. And this is a track where the Outlaws had never been there before. This is one where they kind of had to add because the High Limit stole some of their tracks and races. So but like the generator blew up. So like there was no lights. So like the Outlaws didn't even start hot lapping until like over past 9 o'clock our time, which would have been like 8 something their time. I think they're only an hour behind in Texas. And so they had to wait till like 8 something to even get the hot laps going, but they had already run some of the support class and the track was hammered down. But the best part of that whole night was Bill Rose got a heat win. We couldn't decide if we talked about this already, but if we did, who cares? Because Bill Rose won a heat. It was like he blew up Twitter. He was trending on Twitter. My hero, Bill Rose.
I feel like we didn't talk about it, to be honest. So
yeah, I don't think so.
Because he won the heat and then came 8th in the dash after starting.
Yeah, and he got GSR all over the car.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And Michael Waltrip Brewer
representation on the road.
Yeah, yes, and people give him so much shit, but like he to me is so much better than the Colfax Comet Robert Bell. Like to me, my low buck hero is Bill Rose, not the Colfax Comet. Because Bill Rose, at the Millport Million back in the day when Wild Child won $250,000 at Eldora non-wing, Bill Rose finished like 5th in that race. Bill Rose can wheel. He's just low buck right now. And he's living the dream, going to the outlaw race, getting the tow money, getting the start money. He's going to be killing it this year because there's going to be a lot more times where they're hurting for cars. So Bill Rose is going to be rich. Go Bill Rose.
Yeah, he ended up finishing 15th in the race on which one am I looking at here? This is the one on the 23rd at Cannondale. So he ends up 15th after starting 8th. First car 1 lap down in that one. And I'll see if where did he end up? I think he was at 81 Speedway as well, if I'm not mistaken.
He's got to be. He's outlaw. Contracted. Want to hear a funny... I don't know if I told this before, but there's a funny story about Bill Rose where one year he had to have surgery right before the season unexpectedly. And because of the outlaw rule, where if you're not fit to drive, you still get 75 points. So he still finished 15th in points or something that year, and he didn't run a single race. And because he did sign on and he has been one of their boys, he's been there every race. Just try to go to every race for people that talk about Bill Rose. God dang. But anyway, he finished in points. They paid him for points. He didn't even go to a single race. Gotta love it.
Yeah. Didn't make the show at 81 Speedway, actually. It looks like he got knocked out.
There was a ton of cars at that one.
Main.
Yeah, so I only talked about Kennedale. That one was hammered down, whatever. It was Carson Macedo just spanked him. And then there was a lot of flips. The sprint car's worst nightmare. I hate Went too much bite, bad. Bite on the top,
Yeah.
on the bottom, a little bit in the middle, okay. But like it was just hammer down, and you probably needed at least 2 feet of stagger to get the thing to turn there. Anyway, that one wasn't a fail, but the next race at 81 was awesome. Rico won. There was great racing all through the field. And
Yep.
yeah, there's a lot more cars than I expected at that one. And yeah, good to see.
Yep. And with that said, we should take a look at the point standing quickly now because,
That
like
one,
I said, I was given.
that's what I was missing. Gio Selzy
What's that?
flipped hard at 81 Speedway.
Yes.
I think him and Macedo got into it. And yeah, that's gravel. Advantage gravel there. And I think Schatz is second in points now. The old
Yeah,
Don.
he's only 18 back.
Don. You know who I'm pulling for this year? Don.
I know you are.
Even though he's driving a
You want to
Ford.
see him get it done.
I hate Fords. Sorry, Ford people. Hate them. I had to.
Me too, buddy.
Hate them.
I'm a Chevy guy through and through.
Yeah, Chevy or Dodge for me.
Yeah, exactly. So Gravel is leading the points. He moved up from second, I believe, or was he third or second in the points? Either way, with the poor result for Selzy, that kind of dropped him back off of that. Logan Schuhart sits fourth. Carson Macedo fifth right now in the World of Outlaws driver standings, which are still fairly tight amongst the top five. I mean, the top five are all within 80 points of each other, so that's I will take that because again, I really thought Gravel would be running away with it by now already, but it just goes to show there is some great parity at the top of the World of Outlaws, and it's going to be something to watch.
The Outlaws are no slouches.
All season long.
Yeah. Like we'll see who looks better at the end of the year, like this whole high limit versus outlaw thing, which I love the whole rivalry they got going. I said I hated that. They can chirp on Twitter all they want. I've changed my tune. Let's go.
Oh wow, look at you coming around.
Let's muck it up.
Well, why not, right? Because it just all it does is continue the conversation, right? I mean, get people to keep talking about sprint car racing.
Let's keep it like driver versus driver over series versus series. Like I don't like.
Yeah, that's true.
The series Twitters are yakking, but like the drivers, let's do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, high limit's going to be talking, right? Because Rico comes out there and wins and leads every lap on the 30th, right? So that makes a difference for high limit. Speaking of high limit, we should say that they are back in action April 9th. They got a midweek money series event at Riverside International Speedway next Tuesday.
Ooh, the ditch.
And then they've got Texarkana 67 Speedway on the 12th. They're at Texas Motor Speedway and for the Stockyard Stampede on the 13th. And on the 14th, RPM Speedway. So 3 nights in a row of racing. In total, like 5 events in a week, it looks like I'm seeing, or just
they're ramping her up.
Maybe just over a week. So it's going to be a busy one for fans of the High Limit Series and those who want to tune in and stream on Flow, right? So that's pretty cool. That covers the sprint car side of things. We should probably get some local news because Merrittville Speedway made some headlines announcing their new staff as it comes to officials, right?
Yeah. Who was
now,
it? Zach Ferry?
I gotta say, I'm pretty stoked. Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm pretty cool. Happy for both these guys because they're both really loyal guys to Merrittville Speedway. I would say they're both deserving of it. Scene. Yeah, exactly, right? They're so dedicated. So Zach moving into the race director role, replacing Doug Leonard, who has departed to be a part of the World of Outlaws and NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series, which is pretty cool, again, to have that local representation. And then Tim Zach is going to be moving up to pit steward, which was Zach Ferry's old job. So, again, pretty cool. Ferry's also served as the race director on Tuesday nights at Go-Karts as well, held at Humberstone as well. Zach was also a former, Tim Zach, I should say, also a former racer for anybody who doesn't know, and has been a pit steward at all the tracks in the region for the past few years. So those positions being filled really helps out. So the Zach attack.
Zach squared. Well, Tim Zach already called himself that, so it's the double Zach attack.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. The Zach attack are going to be running. You got an issue, you got to deal with the Zacks. I personally cannot wait for this season. Like I saw, what was awesome was I saw the pictures and the social media posts coming out of the Merrittville Speedway Easter egg hunt that they had over the weekend for Easter break, and that was so wicked to see how packed it was. It was awesome to see. I'm going to be going by the Speedway and doing some preseason stuff in the days coming up, which I'm looking forward to. So can't wait to see everybody at the Spring Sizzler on the 20th. I will not be at Test and Tune night for anybody who might be wondering because
Pump
that's
up
my
your stag and doe.
So if you're
Pump it
gonna go
up.
to if you're gonna go to Test
I've
and
got a
Tune
good
night,
story
make sure
about you.
see Travis.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a story about? Okay, go for it. Let's.
Just about,
I don't even know what you're doing.
well, just about this weekend, like you came in Monday or yesterday, whatever day it was,
Yeah.
and I could tell you were flustered right away. I'm like, what is wrong with you? And then you like instantly said just like stressing about getting the stag and doe ready to rock and roll. And then like I
Yeah.
compared it to that's how every single racer in the world feels at this time every single year, and how I was kind of thought it was funny a little.
It is funny, but at the same time, I have like one night of stress. Like obviously I got a wedding coming up later on, but this is one night. If I get the stag and doe right and that's all good, perfect. We're golden. I don't need to worry about anything else for at least a couple months. You guys have to worry week after week after week, it seems like at this point of the year. So it's like, yeah, it's great. You made it the spring sizzler. It's like, how much stuff did you break? How much stuff do you have to clean up?
Yeah.
How much maintenance do you have to do
about that part
for the next one? Yeah. So
people make fun of me for driving like an old man sometime, but that's why you got to bring her home. Can't be knocking stuff off.
Exactly.
Which I'm pretty good at anyways. Yeah. But Spring Sizzler, we're going to be sending it because look, I got the spare car back together. The one that's got some miles on her. Look at that.
Nice.
And yeah.
For the podcast listeners, I'm getting a little rotation around the garage.
Who cares if we bend that one? We'll cut it off at BRP. We'll fix it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sending it
some,
at the Ville. Let's go.
Parts made for you. Yeah, I can't wait. Anyways, it's going to be awesome. Test and Tune night is happening on the 13th as well as my stag and doe. So if you end up going to Test and Tune night as a fan or as a driver, as a crew member, whatever it is, go see Travis because I'm going to send him in the pits around with some more.
I got Johnny tickets. You should give me some earlier so I can snag my crew guys.
Yeah, for sure. I can hook you up.
But yeah, come see me for this weather. Better smarten up. Today don't feel like no Test and Tune. That's for sure. Recording on Wednesday.
That's the thing I was going to ask. So, and you're not that you've done a ton of track prep, but you have enough knowledge that for us race fans who are thinking about weather and weather concerns, what do we need to see over the next couple of weeks for Merrittville to be starting on time?
Absolutely nothing. Merrittville Speedway is one of the best tracks in track prep in the world, in my opinion. I've seen them scrape snow off it and make the track not ruddy and stuff. And like some tracks in the States I watch that's the thing about Flow and Dirt Vision. It exposes the places that don't know how to get it done. And sometimes you see like, oh man, Grays Harbor Raceway one time I saw was just the most rutted up joint I've ever seen in my life. And like that never happens at Merrittville. It could have a tsunami the night before and they would have her smooth. It might be a little tackier, but it would be smooth. Even if there's a hole or two, it wouldn't be rutted up motocross track like you can see sometimes some other places. You know what I mean? Like so even recently, Chico, California had a big 360 race, and like that place is noted for, oh yeah, hammer down, rutted up Chico. And I heard on Dominic Selzy talk about on Daryl's podcast, The Drivers Project, about how much he hates that stuff, and he's from California. I couldn't agree more. And like the highlights from that race, the cars were bouncing, and the guy ended up flipping going off the back straightaway on the last lap leading just because he hit a rut wrong and like totally junked his stuff. Like that stuff sucks. But anyway, don't have to worry about that at Merrittville ever.
Awesome. That's what I wanted to hear. I like that photo confidence. So as long as we don't get rain on the 20th, we should be good to go.
Yep.
Nice. So we should probably touch on the tire dope situation because we've got multiple angles of this. First of all, we kind of, I don't want to say brushed over it, but there wasn't much left to talk about the late model guys who ended up suspended. But now, no suspensions, just fines.
Yeah. Crazy. And then we just got done talking ESS tire dope with Jordan Poirier. And then, like, literally the very next day, they announced that they're going to have a 5-race burn-off period. Ransomville is the last race to burn off your dope tires. And that's a good one to have because that's the first one on their schedule that is a little tougher on tires. So that's a good one to have for a burn-off. But, man, I have a story about, like, when I went to Fulham last year and I heard Jason Barney coming to lap me. And, like, he was on the gas. And I understand that, like, his setup was probably better than mine, too. But, like, it was just incredibly on the gas. And then you realize they were all doping, like, pretty clearly if you have to announce a burn-off period. So, Poirier says he wasn't.
Gotta be more than a few of them doing it.
I know there's, like, talk about traction control and all that. My opinion is there's a lot more tire dope than traction control. I can absolutely guarantee you that. Like, absolutely, 1,000% more tire dope than traction control out there.
Which is worse? Which is more detrimental to the actual racing series?
traction control because it's 10,000 or like 7,500 US. Like, nah, can't like
Yeah.
obviously traction control, but like getting back to the
Yeah.
Lucas or the World of Outlaws stuff, they just got rid of the suspension, so now it's like they almost went back on it a little bit. It's like, now do you just make it legal, or you at least got to get the testing process better? And I watched the Jason Fager. He's been tossed for tire dope, and he had a bunch of good points when all this late model stuff happened. I saw a bunch of people say watch the Fager video, so I did. And like his main point was like every batch of Hoosier tire, I don't care, or any tire, I don't care. Like there has to be a couple samples from every date code at least, because like a benchmark in like when was the benchmark? Like what batch code was the benchmark from? Just something.
Yeah, the benchmark for 2022 is
something
not the
like
same
that.
as what is
so like for
2023.
Me, our tires are HTC. Like there's only 2 series in the world that even run them around here locally and ESS, right? So ours should be pretty easy to just stash one batch code every time they get made. Just like Fager was saying, they should stash one from the beginning, one from the middle, and one from the end, because he thinks, because the late model tires get made much bigger batches than our HTCs. So like he thinks it can even change throughout the batch, right? That's his own opinion.
Chemicals, right?
Yeah, chemicals. Like who knows?
It's all a science experiment at this point, especially like, you know, we had that situation in Bristol a couple weeks in the NASCAR Cup Series, right? And everyone's like, "Oh, what was the deal with that? What was wrong with that?" And like Goodyear is trying to go green. All these companies are trying to go green in different ways and make their product more environmentally friendly, more sustainable, all that sort of stuff. The only way you're going to do that is through science and experiments. And so to me, like
tire dope's not environmentally friendly. I've been on this train
since it all kept. It is not. But I have been on this train since we first started having tire drama last year of like, does it really matter? Like to me, traction control, that you want to crack down on because but you want to crack down on
to me, there should be a way to do both,
especially because of the cost.
Yeah.
There should be, but it doesn't seem like anybody's actually willing to spend the money or put the money up to properly do this. It doesn't seem like, because you know what, the only thing that can come out of this is that Hoosier is going to have these issues and they're going to get crucified because every driver is going to jump on social media or whatever.
That's the whole thing, though. The drivers get crucified too.
Exactly. So they want to pass the buck off and see, it's not us. It's Hoosier Tire Canada.
Hoosier does need to be more involved. That's another thing Fager said in his video. Hoosier basically throws their hands up in the air, like not the dealers, the company itself just throws their hands up in the air at that point. Like they need to be more involved as well. And that's where he started saying at least one tire from every batch code. So, your tire got checked at could at least be a benchmark from that same code. And then there's returning. Who knows if like the dealers do take return tires sometimes. Who knows? Someone doped them and then returned it. Who knows?
And why don't we have the other thing too? And I get this is another expense for the company and all that sort of stuff. But like, if you're the company, like if you're Hoosier, why are you not just providing your own labs? Like, establish your own testing lab to test your product.
Now that they're owned by Continental Tire, I can argue for that theory a lot more than back when it was like when they were in the NASCAR tire war days and there was like literally 16 employees. And I forget the gentleman's name that used to own it, but he was like a racer to the bone. He's passed away now and Continental owns it. So now that Continental owns it, they should be able to have some labs.
Just put your own labs in there. All it's going to do is eventually pay for itself because you're going to charge these guys and these tracks and these series to test anyways. But then you get to put it in house, and I get even that could lead to some corruption and whatever, and you probably still would want a third party entity testing stuff. But to me, like, I just think there's better ways that we can go about this if you really want to test for it. I've always been on the standpoint of if you want to prep your tire, just do it. Like, who cares? To me, it's like you still got to be able to drive the car. I don't think tire dope alone is enough to make a mid to average driver.
Not even close.
A contender.
Same as traction control. Both of them.
Yeah.
If you can't have traction control or tire dope ain't helping you if you don't got throttle control on the slick ice that we race on around here usually. Facts.
Exactly. So it's what difference does it really make?
People who think traction control or whatever means you can drive around an ice rink around here with their foot on the floor, quotes, like come on, give your head a shake.
Yeah. Folks from Vansickle Pet Value and PV on the Lane aren't just fans of your favorite four-legged friends, they are race fans too. That's why Jeff and Rhonda Riley, as well as their staff, have teamed up with Merrittville Speedway to make your race day experience more convenient. Race fans can now pick up tickets for race nights while grabbing the highest quality food, treats, toys, and accessories for their pets from the St. Catharines and Niagara Falls locations. Beat the box office and the crowds. Their support of local racing doesn't just stop with you, the race fan. Catch the Vansickle Pet Value PV on the Lane 4 cylinders racing at Merrittville Speedway throughout the 2024 season. Check out Vansickle Pet Value across from Best Buy and Walmart on 4th Avenue in St. Catharines, and PV on the Lane at the corner of Kayla Road and Lundy's Lane, Highway 20. So we'll see. There's been an effort to crack down and now a soften up of cheating in dirt racing. So something else I want to touch on, get out of that conversation, is that we've got another place to go 360 sprint car racing in Brighton. There you have the new Brighton Speedway Lawns We Do 360 Sprint Car Series with a pretty nice little schedule happening. Of course, big race over Labor Day weekend, doubleheader, August 31st, September 1st. They've got some 2,000 to win shows, May 18th, June 8th, July 6th, and August 10th. Pretty cool stuff, honestly. I'm happy that they have stepped up because, I think for sprint car racing, and I think for it to not just truly be regional to Oshweekend and within 2 hours of Oshweekend, you're going to need more tracks having not necessarily a full-on weekly series, but enough of a schedule that it promotes guys having 360 race cars, especially with the cost of crate engines now, right? You may as well support a crate or a 360 series.
Oh yeah, that's a hot topic too. I've had people messaging me this week asking about like a budget 360, and I'm like, dang, that really don't exist. Because like, has anyone priced a brand new set of hyper pneumatic pistons for a 602 crate motor lately? You fall over. Like every engine part is expensive. You know what I mean? Like even old stock rings, they're like $250. It's not like they're $2. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like rings that get put in 360s are like $700 Canadian.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the thing about the whole Brighton thing, I love that they have this series now, and because like this is the whole thing about like they did lose the Action Sprint Tour, like they got Brockville running the crates, which is good, and Can-Am, but like Brighton is like it's like the halfway point to Brockville. Whenever I'm passing through Brighton, I always think, all right, we're halfway. So yeah, there is a little like now like the 360 guy or the crate guys out there that had gonna go on the Action Tour and then go to Brockville a little bit. Like, should they have bought a 360 to do Brighton and then and they get paid a little more? It's definitely, there's a void out there now a little bit with missing all the Action Sprint Tour races. And yeah, or you can just go Brockville with the crate too. But now you can do either. Yeah.
It's going to be a math equation.
If you had a 360 out in that way. Yeah, for the guys like Rick Wilson, and there's more people out there that I'm definitely going to miss. But lots of, like Chris Jones and Dale Gosselin are the lots of Quebec guys. Like, and then like all there's lots of Oshweekend guys that go too. So as long as they
it's funny we had. Yeah, it was funny that we had Hunsinger on a couple of weeks ago, right? Because that's the first guy I think of like, well, if he had a 360, he could go to Brighton and that'd be the halfway point for Billings, right? Because Billings is out more Brockville way.
Yeah, correct? Who knows if they're gonna allow crates or not? Like ESS allows crates. They allow 305s.
But I'm saying even if they had a 360 engine, right? Because you were trying to rope them in to buy a 360, and now it's like, well, if you have one,
the best way, to buy a brand new engine, there's no way to do it budget. Like even a budget engine is still going to be 60 Canadian. Like it's insane. Like every part new. Like no, even like it is tough. The best way to get into the 360s budget. Like right now, if you go on all the sprint car classifieds on Facebook, there's this engine, and it says it's got 3 wingless races on it. It's an ASCS 360, and they want $15,000 for it. Comes with everything. There's your budget 360. That guy's clearly got a divorce or something, and they need to sell that thing. Make sure it's not a scam. if you don't know how to tell a scammer by now, like give your head a shake. So beware scammers. That's a pretty low price, but it looks like good stuff. That's how you get a budget 360 right there. If I had 15 US, I'd be driving to whatever PA town it was, Pennsylvania, and getting it because I want that thing. And yeah, there's no way to buy parts cheaper than that. Impossible.
Yep. So I think we should end the podcast off with a couple announcements from you.
I had
First
another
and
idea
foremost,
too. Do you want to do a draft?
Okay.
I had a good idea.
Oh, if you got a draft,
you had to go be Mr. Famous today on 97.7. I didn't have a chance to talk to you at lunch about it, but
that's all right. Okay,
we'll do your idea first, and then the very last, the draft. Just best racing names. It doesn't have to be dirt.
Best racing names?
It has to be a real race car driver, not like Cole Trickle. Cole Trickle, great racing name, but he's fictional. Not Rowdy Burns, great name, fictional. Has to be real.
Okay. All right. I think I can come up with something like that. Mm-hmm. But let's jump into the fact that you have announced your full-on schedule for 360s this year. So if anybody has them on social media, you probably saw Travis's schedule. But where's TC Motorsports going this year?
First off, shout out to, I call him Austin Matthews, but it's Aaron Matthews. He's on my crew. And or I call him Aaron, like you call everybody that's named Aaron. He made that. Like he made all my logos. Like he's the man. Like hell yeah. And he did it for free. That's my boy. But anyway,
he's a good dude.
I was gonna put this on there, but I decided not just leave it off. Like all the guarantees are the Oswego and Merrittville's. The other ones are if I'm feeling like it, and like you know what I mean. So guaranteed all the Oswego and Merrittville's, and then I've got 3 Fultons on there. Because I just love that track. It's in my new favorite track. It used to be just Merrittville and Oswego, my 2 favorite tracks. Now Fulton on the list. So I'm going there 3 times. And then one of those trips I'm going to turn into like an Airbnb trip with my girlfriend and stay over and do Weedsport the next day. So hopefully pay for the trip, get a couple good runs. That's all you try to do. All you try to do, pay for your trip. And then because I like doing things like that and like racing 5 nights in a row and then taking like a little break. So that's what we're doing. We're doing like 3 nights in a row there, Oswego and Fulton, Weedsport. And then that leads into the Thursday, Friday, big Oswego shows with the Pinties. Yep. And then like there's like a Merrittville and then there's like a break there, like a couple week break.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm going to Freedom.
A nice mid-season break.
Oswego did not give us the ESS race at Ransomville off this year, which I was a little bummed about. I'm not gonna lie, but they are going to Freedom the next night. And even though I've heard some stuff about that place and I've heard it can be rough, I'm just going. I'm gonna drive smart and get paid in American, and it's only like an hour away from my house, which falls in my rule. And I love getting paid in American. Like, yeah, that's my main thing if I'm gonna travel these days. Got to be getting that extra 40%. You know what I mean? And the ESS first is just banging. So for 360s. So and then going to that one, gonna go to Southern Ontario Motor Speedway hopefully June 15th. That one got added late because my crew guys got friends out there. So I'm like, screw it, we'll go. And going to that one. This year we're hopefully have 2 cars together. So that's what's making all this possible. And that's pretty much it. I think I got it all. Oswego and Merrittville's, Freedom, SOMS, Fulton, Weedsport.
Yep, you got it. I'll plug some dates for myself here. So we already talked a little bit about the Stag and Doe, but this coming Saturday, April 6th, I am going to be playing at a show at the Warehouse Concert Hall in St. Catharines. I'm going to be opening for my buds, the Cocktails, Sons of Butcher on that bill as well. Those guys are awesome. And James Underwood as well, a great performer. So on the music front, I'm going to be playing, taking advantage of the last Saturday I have off because I got the Stag and Doe and then it's racing season. So I will be very much not able to play shows on Saturdays. So I figured let's squeeze one in before the racing season comes. So if you need tickets to that, you can DM me. I've got physical tickets. Save yourself some money on the box office and the service fees online. So you can do that. The Stag and Doe, like I say, it's going to be happening in Niagara Falls. $10 tickets available still right up until we open the doors. Then they're going up to $15. We've got 2 signed Maple Leaf jerseys we're giving away, a Matthews jersey, a Morgan Riley jersey. I think we got a couple TVs that we're giving away that night. Lots of sports jerseys, lots of games, lots of fun stuff. So if you can make it out and support myself and my wonderful fiance Kyra, that'd be really cool. Travis will have some tickets at Merrittville Speedway on the 13th for Test and Tune. Otherwise, you can DM me at Jonathon on air is where you can find me. And then again, I am also playing at the Warehouse Concert Hall. Full band set for the first time. That's going to be happening April 26th as I open up for Other Wives. So a couple nights in St. Catharines and a big event happening in Niagara Falls, sprinkled in with some racing. It's going to be a very busy April for me.
Yeah, we're pretty cool. All right.
Yeah, we got lots of happenings in our lives. So that's I think that's about it. So let's jump into this draft. So you want to do best racing names in general? So we doing like a 4-pack?
Yep.
Am I going first, or you want first pick?
You're definitely not picking who I was going to pick first, so you can go first.
All right, I'm going to take Scott Speed first overall.
Whew. Dang, love it.
Right?
Too bad his talent didn't live up to the. No, he's not horrible.
Into the hype.
Yeah.
I mean, that Red Bull program, once he got to NASCAR, that Red Bull program
like
was
even
questionable.
Danica. People say Danica sucks, but like she can outdrive you. I guarantee it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah, Scott Speed. Good first pick. I love it. All right. So, this is what inspired this draft because I was showing you that earlier Trans Am race. Hurley Haywood.
Nice.
That's what inspired it.
You want Hurley Haywood first overall?
Yep.
Ooh,
I have to tell the story because my dad used to call the Hurley Haywoods like that's your heebie-jeebies you get before a race as a driver. And if you don't get those as a driver, retire. Or you either should retire or you win every race. Because like Dale Earnhardt's heart rate used to go down when he raced. Literally the only NASCAR driver ever to like be like that. Everyone else is like through the roof. Seniors went down. So the heebie-jeebies, yeah, that's the Hurley Haywoods. So number one. I was a real driver.
That's a good one. That's a good pick. All right. Second pick for me. Do I do it to him?
Do it.
Dick Trickle.
Dang. I know.
It's a great name. It's a great handle.
It's perfect. He's probably should have went number one in the first round, but
it's not as appropriate as an actual racing driver, but I mean, how do you have... Nobody is going to forget the name Dick Trickle.
Nope.
So.
It's funny because my second pick's going to be a Dick as well. And this is going back to like the 60s of NASCAR, but like, how do you not love the name Dick Johnson?
Oof. Great. It's a good name. Race car driver names all time.
I know. I thought of some better ones earlier. I wish I wrote them down. Although those two are on my list, obviously.
I don't know where I want to go with this. I'm trying to think of like an open wheel guy. Scott Goodyear. There we go.
Dang.
Scott Goodyear for the tires alone.
Named after a tire. And they hosed him. He should have won the Indy 500, not Jack Villeneuve. They hosed him so hard. Hey, pace car driver, hit the brakes. Pile on the brakes. We need Jack to win. We already gave him 2 laps back for nothing. Oh, man, did he get hosed that day. And I listened to the Gary Kloot podcast. I love the Gary Kloot podcast. It's one of my favorites, and he's local. I love it. He had Scott Goodyear on, and oh, man, he is so much cooler than me about that. Oh, man, imagine getting screwed out of the Indy 500. Like, and his was worse than Paul Tracy's. Like, straight up, pace car driver piles on the brakes. Oh, past pace car. Pace car wasn't on the gas. Oh, what a name. Man, you just totally took me off my game here.
I know. It's a good one. And how about that Canadian on Canadian violence, too? We had a controversial finish between Canadians in IndyCar. I don't think we talk about that as much.
That was the last real year of IndyCar, bud. That was the last real year.
Yeah.
The next year, they wrecked it.
Split.
They just took a dagger and destroyed it. It was better than NASCAR until then. Like, it wasn't even a discussion. And then NASCAR took over. Yep. Wasn't even a discussion back then. Oh, okay. This is just a great one for me because it was one of my favorites going up. And the nickname's kind of into it, but like, it just goes so well. And it's sprint car. The Wild Child, Jack Haudenschild. Like, come on. Love it. Hero.
Nice.
have raced against him, have partied with him in a little bit. The first year, everyone was out there. Bowman, there was a bunch of people. He was just hanging out because him and Jim Hanley are buds. Cool.
Nice.
Yep.
It's a good pick. Oh, all right. I got to come up with a good one here. I feel like I put together a pretty good lineup for not having any preparation for this draft.
This is going good.
Okay. All-time race car names. It's like I really like the name Shoemaker. I think I think Ralph and I feel like Ralph and Michael both have good names. I'm trying to think of if there's one in Formula One that really jumps out to me. I'm sure there is that I'm not thinking of. I don't know. Good race car driver name. Maybe I go back to NASCAR. Oh man, this is so hard. Why have you put me on the spot like this?
Well, you did. How many have you got?
I've gotten 3. I got to pick one more.
I know,
but I
you've
don't
done
know
so
who to
good.
pick.
I know,
I
it's
know.
getting hard now.
Oh, with no prep on a draft too, man, this is tough. Okay, I'm just gonna send it on. You know what? I think I gotta go with. I feel like I gotta pick an Italian name because there's so many good Italian names that just roll off the tongue so well. And this isn't really necessarily like super great in terms of like it's a connected to racing, but I've always loved the name Dario Franchitti.
That's a great name.
Dario Franchitti, like you could have gone Emerson Fittipaldi
for a European. That's like
Mario Andretti, and the fact he's Scottish, like he's Scottish within a Scottish accent, but the most Italian name of all time. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. So I'm picking Dario Franchitti.
Yep, we're missing some. Hey, Drivers Project.
You guys there's some great one.
The Drivers Project should do this one too. Hey, Daryl, are you listening? Peter, are you listening? Because I think this is great. Because we're totally missing. There's so many good ones. But this, I want to go local with this one. And this one's for my mom because she loves this name. She thought it was a nickname, but it's not. It's his real name, Mac DeMan.
Oh yes, Mac DeMan.
Yeah.
The highlight man.
No, but what's his real name? That's his real name. DeMan.
His real name. I was gonna say Lake Speed could have worked as well.
Oh yeah,
that was the one I was coming in
double speed.
I know. I didn't.
You should have went Lake Speed instead of Scott Speed.
Yeah,
Lake Speed instead of Scott Speed.
There's got to be a Lake Speed in the world too. If he doesn't own a house on Lake Speed, that would be it's just a tragedy, really.
He was a go-kart world champion, just like current World of Outlaw and high limit sprint car owner Bobby Allen. Both of them world go-karting champions, 2 Europe and everything. There's 2,
which is wild.
Yeah, back in the days with like go Google karts from the 60s and 70s. Like, yeah.
Well, I'm pretty. Didn't Lake race against like Ayrton Senna and beat Senna?
Yes.
Is that who I'm thinking of?
That's Blake. Yes. Bobby Allen was before him. Like he was like way back. But yeah, that's a guaranteed fact that you just said. Don't have to look it up. Like, you're right.
I am actually looking it up just because I want to see.
You're right.
Yeah. You literally go to his Wikipedia. It says he won the International Karting Federation National Championship 6 times, and in '78 he won the Karting World Championship over Ayrton Senna.
Mm-hmm.
So wild.
Nate, race car driver. Name I like, Bud Katie.
That's a good one. There's so many good ones. Bud Moore I always liked as just a name in racing. Yeah. I know, that's what I'm saying, but as a name in racing.
Drivers Podcast should prep for this and do it.
All podcasts. Dale Jr. We should be talking to the Dale Jr. download crew.
Yeah, they guys should do a draft
of this. Yeah. Never mind those puzzles they were doing last year, which I really like those puzzle things that he was
Joey
doing
Chitwood
last year. Oof. That just makes me think of Joey Chestnut though.
Nowadays, but back in the day, Joey Chitwood was he a stunt? No, he's a road racer. There's so many good road racing ones that we're missing out on. Hurley Haywood inspired the draft.
Yep. All right. Let's leave it there. That was a good one. Good draft topic. I feel like we got to do some more drafts coming up down the road. If anybody's got a great draft topic they want us to do, funny, comical, or serious or otherwise, feel free to let us know on social media at SODS_pod on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. I'm lagging behind on putting clips up. I'm sorry. We'll do that. We'll get there. It's been a busy little stretch for all of us. So, we'll get there. But thanks for tuning in. And we'll be back on another edition of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast, sponsored by Vansickle Pet Value and Lundy's Lane Pet Value next week. And the checkered is out on another episode of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show presented by Oshawigan Speedway and Bicknell Racing Products. Like what you hear, rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Connect with us on Facebook at Southern Ontario Dirt Show or find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at SODS_pod. Have a question for the show? Email us, southernontariodirtshow@gmail.com. Thanks for supporting local racing in Southern Ontario, and we'll see you at the track.